Coming up on Mobile Learning in the Classroom, Khan Academy. Hi, I'm Zoe Falls, and today on Mobile Learning in the Classroom, we're going to look at Khan Academy. So with the end of the semester coming around and summer break on the horizon, I like to try and find fun apps that parents can use with their students over the summer just to keep those skills sharp, maybe get a little bit of a head start moving into the school year, or in my case, find stuff to do in the car when mom and dad decide that it's time to take a road trip. So Khan Academy is sort of a one-stop shop for educational games and problems and ways to keep your students engaged and maybe a little more quiet in the back seat of the car. And as with most of my favorite apps, you can log in with your Google account. So we'll go ahead and log in. And the other cool thing about Khan Academy is that it's multiple age levels. So you can have your younger children working on stuff that's age appropriate all the way through to your high school students who maybe they're just using that summer to get ready to take the SATs in the fall. So we're going to select an avatar, which for your younger students might be more interesting than for your older students. We're going to take this little toothy guy. Finish watching a computer program talk through. Oh, I can't choose him. I'll go with the red guy. All right, so I've selected my avatar. Now, as you can see, it breaks it down by subject, and then with math, because there's a heavy focus on math, it breaks it down by subject as well as grade level. We're going to go ahead and look at some of the science stuff, because I know we've been talking a lot about science apps here recently. Let's look at astronomy. Scale of the universe, stars, black holes, and galaxies. I'm going to go with that because one of the things my family did a lot when we were younger was go camping. So if we're looking out there and we're out in the mountains where there's a bunch of sky, it might be kind of interesting to engage your kids in conversation about stars and galaxies and black holes when they can see it out there. So again, let's go ahead and say the birth of stars. And there's a short video. So you'd go ahead and watch the video. Then there are questions. And what's interesting is you can see questions and responses from other people. You can also ask questions. So if you have a question based on the reading, you can submit it and people can respond. For those of you that are teachers and use Google Classroom, you can link this to your Google Classroom. So again, it's a great resource and it ties into a tool that you're probably already using in your classrooms. There's also closed captioning, so your students can read along. And okay, so again, it's a list of different topics and they're all going to have little videos, and then there are challenges. So we're going to see what this one is. Click on spin-off tabs below to see winning entries. I'm actually not sure what this is. We'll find out. So this looks like some sort of coding activity that you do based on what you learn in the galaxies. So it gives you some JavaScript. Okay. So this could be something that you could have your younger students, younger kids, partner with the older kids and get some coding experience while you learn some science. So again, it's crossing some disciplinary boundaries there, which again is always something I'm a huge fan of when talking about apps for students to use. So you also have a profile page that sets up and sort of keeps track of what you do. You can earn badges, which in my experience tend to be more appealing for younger students than older students. But if we go back to subjects, let's go ahead and let's look at some math. So I've been doing some statistics recently, so we'll go ahead and see what they have as far as statistics. And questions, we'll look at significance testing. Woohoo! So it gives a brief overview of what's going to be covered and a series of videos and then some practice and then some more videos. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the practice looks like. An alien empire is considering taking over planet Earth, but they will only do so if the population of rebellious humans is less than 10%. They abduct a random sample of 100 humans, performed special psychological tests, and found that 20% of the sample are rebellious. Let's test the hypothesis that the actual percentage of rebellious humans is 10%. So, again, this would be great for younger students because the example is all about aliens invading the Earth, and last summer one of the blockbuster hits was an alien movie, so it's probably still something that students will remember. So then once they read through the problem, there's a series of questions that they answer, and there's a hint at the bottom. So if you're stuck, they can go back and watch the video to refresh the memory or use a hint. So what I like about this is it's something they can do on their own, but they can also engage with other people. So if you had multiple kids in the back seat, they can sort of play off of each other and they could compete for different badges. And if they get bored with one subject, they can move on to something else. So it's self-directed, which I think for summer learning experiences for students is going to be super important to keep them engaged and interested as they move on. So it covers all different types of science and engineering, computing. There's some history, art history. So one of the things that if you're in your travels or going somewhere like an art museum, you could have your students do some pre-learning or maybe go back and the museum piqued their interest and they could go look it up afterwards. But different ways where you can sort of tie some of what they're learning into the experiences they're having while on vacation, which keeps things fresh, interesting, and relevant. So that's just a very brief overview of Khan Academy. It's a very exhaustive list of subjects and things to look at that I think will be an engaging way to keep your students learning over the summer. Thanks. See ya.